Is your business protected against the threat of malicious litigation and frivolous lawsuits? Are you sinking company profits into marketing campaigns that do nothing to contribute to the growth of your business? Bottled Business Sense provides practical business perspectives that uniquely emphasize both legal and media marketing strategies to protect and ensure the longevity of your business. And whether you're trying to provide a startup business with some level of stability or an established business with foolproof asset and estate protection, or simply attempting to get a better return for your business marketing dollars, Bill Bernard and Rick Moscoso will expose potential pitfalls to ensure the security and growth of your business, free from unwanted expense and the threat of litigation. You'll learn how to implement marketing and protection tools equal to those used by today's most successful corporations. Let's join Bill and Rick for today's Bottled Business Sense show.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday here at the Bottled Business Sense Show. It's 10 a.m. as usual, and I want to welcome all of our returning viewers. And if you're new, welcome to the podcast. With that, excited today to hear what Bill has to say. He's going to be speaking on a subject centered around emphasizing, and we'll get into that in a minute. But in the meantime, let's say aloha to my co-host, Mr. Bill Bernard.
Hey, Rick. Good to see you guys. And look, Rick uses the word emphasizing. We formed that word many years ago when we started the show. It's not a real word, I don't believe. It's just a word I kind of made up, meaning form a business entity, emphasize, create one to protect yourself. So just to give you a little recap on that, we don't want you to pull your hair out and say, what the hell did he mean? Emphasize. Today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about incorporating out of state. When you start a company, what are some of the requirements? I'm going to touch on some of these very briefly and ask you to contact your lawyer if you want a little more specifics as it pertains to your particular situation. Yeah. But before I go into that, I want to turn it back over to Rick for a second so he can explain to you what we're doing on iTunes. And we'd like to see if we can get your cooperation in helping us out. So take it away, Rick.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. Not only can you see us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, but we are now on iTunes and Spotify. So for those of you who like to take things on the go, listen to it in podcast form, all of these episodes that we're doing and then some previous episodes already are loaded up into our iTunes podcast. So go to iTunes. You can listen to the audio version of many of these episodes. And if you would, go ahead and rate us, like us, give us a review, and then download some episodes. And that will help in our ratings so we get pushed higher up to the top. So we're excited about that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rick. Yes, guys. So if you have a mind to do that for us, and if you have some time, we would certainly appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurs wondering what state they should incorporate or create a business in. Some existing businesses consider registering out of state due to compliance considerations. Others simply like the fact that some states may be a little more legal friendly, if you will, which I'll get into in a second. But when people consider incorporating out of state, the real key is that foreign qualification is simply the process of registering to do business in another state. You may incorporate in that state, or you may incorporate in your home state and then register to do business in another state. And again, we're going to touch upon that very briefly as well. Let's talk about money savings. Business tax rates vary by state. Conversely, some states are known for their business-friendly environments, right? And specifically legal environment. Let me give you an example. In California, you have to file articles of incorporation. It's $100 plus a $15 handling fee, and then you have to pay a franchise tax of $800. In Delaware, the fee is only $89 to incorporate. And while Delaware is a friendly state in terms of the fact that you're not required to pay state income tax, you are required to file a franchise fee if you're registering in Delaware to do business. And those franchise fees are based on the value of the corporation's shares. So while you pay an initial fee of $75, you may go up to be as high as I don't know, $180,000 in franchise fees, depending on the size of your company and the value of the shares. Now, if you're a solo S corp or LLC or something like that, well, then obviously you're not going to have to worry about that. It's not going to be an issue for you. But franchise fees have to be paid typically in states where you do business, and those franchise fees are determinative on, number one, about where you actually incorporate, and then number two, whether you're actually doing business in that state. So let's talk a little bit about doing business in the state. One-person business, let's say you're a one-person business like an S corp or an LLC. You're the sole owner, the sole employee. So what would you consider to be doing business in another state in order to have to pay franchise fees in that state, as well as your own state of incorporation? What makes that determination? Well, states are different, but generally speaking, you want to find out if the business will have a physical presence in the state. So you have a company that has an office in a particular state other than the one that you've incorporated in. And when I use the word incorporation, I'm talking about corporations and LLCs for these purposes. So you have a physical presence in another state. You're going to be doing business in that state. Will you be conducting in-person meetings with clients or customers in that state? That could be considered, doing business in that state, which would then require you to have to pay a franchise fee in that state, as well as the state, your home state of incorporation. Is the business structured as a limited liability company or limited partnership? Because LLCs and corporations are considered domestic only in their state of formation. Consequently, LLCs and corporations must foreign qualify in any other state where they conduct business. That's just a given. It's something that's required. So that may be a factor that you're going to think about if you want to do business in another state. You got an LLC or an S corp. Hey, you're gonna be doing business in that state according to the specific franchise fees that are charged in that particular state that you're going to have to register in. Again, we're talking about states besides your own home state of incorporation. Will the business have any employees living or working in another state? So you incorporate in California, you may have employees living or working in Arizona. That could be considered doing business in the state, for which you would be required to foreign qualify. So again, foreign qualify, it allows you to do business in that state by filing documentation and paying franchise tax fees. So remember, some states quarrel about the littlest of things. I know for a fact that in California, specifically with regard to one of my clients, he had a C corporation in Nevada and opened up a checking account for that corporation in California. He was required to pay the California franchise tax fee merely by having that checking account in a California bank, because he was considered to be, quote, doing business, unquote, in the state of California.
Hey, Bill, we have a listener who poses a question. I don't know if this applies, but Anthony De La Pena.
I think I just addressed that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I just addressed that. So you'd have to check with the particular state that you're doing business in, or want to find out if you're doing business in. But I know in California, as I said, I had a client had a Nevada corporation and had a bank account in California, had to pay the $800 California franchise fee, even though he incorporated in Nevada, because that checking account was considered to be doing business in California. What constitutes doing business concerning the employee issue that we just spoke about briefly? If your workers are actual employees of the business, then you're going to be doing business more than likely. But if the business is registered, if you have independent contractors working, then that's a different story. But remember, if you do have employees in another state, you're going to have to also arrange to register to pay payroll taxes on those employees with the state's tax agency where they live or work. So you're going to have to go into Nevada, for example, and find out what the payroll tax situation is in order to be able to provide for employees that you may have in Nevada, even though you have a California corporation. So remember, in addition to your employer federal payroll tax responsibilities, you must withhold state taxes from the wages of employees living in states that do charge a personal income tax. So you foreign qualify in another state, that state has a state income tax, you're going to have to provide for your employees by making the proper withdrawals and deductions on their behalf. Remember, you also need to register out of state if you're doing business out of state with the particular agency that controls sales taxes. Because if you're doing business in Nevada and you have a California company, or a business in Arizona or a business in Utah, wherever they might have a sales tax, you're going to have to make sure that that sales tax is covered on whatever goods and services are sold in that particular state, which is not your home state. So you have to remember that. If your business is structured as an S corporation and you're doing business in another state, again, remember you're required to pay your portion of any payroll taxes due in that state. That's very important, and it's worth repeating. Now, what about when not to qualify? Most states do not consider the following activities as transacting business in that state, and that would be being involved in a lawsuit. If you're sued, you have a right to defend yourself. Conducting internal corporate business, such as attending member meetings, that may not be considered doing business. Opening a bank account in some states, no, but as I said, in California, you may get hit with that. In fact, it's very likely that you will. Using independent contractors, that would more than likely not be considered doing business in another state that you want to qualify, you want to register in. Collecting debts, you have a right to collect debts from people. That wouldn't be considered doing business in another state. And performing an isolated transaction, a transaction that might occur one time or two times. If it's done in isolation for a particular reason, that won't be considered generally doing business in that particular state. So you must understand the foreign qualification process for the reasons that we've stated. And I want to go back to Delaware for a second and why people keep harping on Delaware and why they get excited about it. Delaware is a very friendly legal, corporate legal state in the sense that they have what's called courts of chancery. And these courts of chancery are specifically designed and headed up by lawyers who only practice corporate law. And they're very friendly towards corporations. So when you have a case that comes before Delaware, you're sued in Delaware, you've incorporated in Delaware, it's going to come before the Court of Chancery and not in the general civil court where any judge might get it. And these people are very experienced. They're very intelligent people who know the law and the specific statutes in Delaware that apply to corporate situations. And so they apply that. And many people consider that an advantage, as would I. So remember, when you're going to foreign qualify, the issue becomes, are you looking to foreign qualify because you're going to be doing business in that state specifically? Are you looking to start a business and incorporate in a particular state because of certain advantages, either tax advantages and or whether or not they're friendly, more friendly legally to your company? But the last point I want to touch upon is this privacy issue, and it's come up a number of times with clients that I have. Here's the situation. Nevada, New Mexico, and Wyoming do not require ownership information to be made public. So a lot of people say, well, I want to incorporate there because nobody will know who I am. Nobody will know what company I own. Look, I've said for many years, if you undertake asset protection on a step-by-step basis, which is the way you should do it over time, and you stay out of trouble, it doesn't matter who knows whether you own a particular company or not. You've taken the proper steps to insulate yourself from any potential personal liability. You've kept up the company. You haven't committed fraud. You made sure all of your registered requirements are complied with. You don't have to be anonymous, okay? It's really not required. Some people like that, but more often than not, it's people that have some issue on the horizon that they're afraid of. And believe me, somebody will find out some way who owns a company that they're interested in if the debt is big enough and they want to make a recovery. And then what? They go into court and they get your company declared an alter ego, and therefore you're going to be personally liable anyway. So I wouldn't be real concerned about these privacy issues that come up from people from time to time. So that's it. It's a short, succinct show today. Make sure you talk to your own lawyer to try to get a gauge on your specific situation. Again, opening up bank accounts is a very tricky situation. I can't be more specific with you on that issue. What I would tell you is if you can do online banking and you can find a way to open up a checking account or a business account in the state where you're going to incorporate, you have a better shot at not paying franchise tax fees in the state where you reside, assuming, again, that you're going to incorporate in a state where you don't reside or live. So take that to the bank, no pun intended, and consult with a lawyer with regard to your specific situation. This really isn't the forum to address it any further because we're trying to give you general principles of the law, which you then must incorporate, so to speak, into your specific situation and into a discussion you have with your private counsel. That's important. Okay? So that's it, Rick. We'll be back next week for another show, but I wanted to have you touch one more time on this before we leave on this iTunes issue real briefly. So take it away.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Bill, for your comments today. Appreciate that, as always. And folks, you can always find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. But if you like to take these episodes on the go, we've now published these to iTunes and Spotify. So you can search for the Bottled Business Sense Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify. You can listen to these at your leisure. So for the last several months, you can see topics listed there. And then we'll be filling in more episodes as the weeks go by. And if you want to see the whole directory, you can obviously go to bottledbusinesssenseshow.com and see our whole directory of videos that we've done over the last 6 years, or just go straight to our YouTube channel at Bottled Business Sense Show, and you can see everything. So with that, I appreciate everyone showing up today and listening to Bill's sharing in his knowledge. And
one more announcement, Rick. Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah,
but I want to make it clear to people that are fans of our show. Without a legal relationship between us, an attorney-client relationship, I can't take calls and answer free questions. I say free because you have to pay me. You have to have me on retention for there to establish an attorney-client relationship so that I can answer your questions. So I can't just willy-nilly answer questions if you decide to give me a call and say, well, here's what I want to know. You could look up general principles of law on your own on the internet and get just as much information as you would get from me, unless you tell me your specific situation. And the only way I'll let you do that is if you retain me as your counsel, because I can't, for a lot of ethical reasons, just give out information that may not be applicable because I don't understand your specific situation. And I can't spend a lot of time on the phone on calls where people want to explain their specific situation and not retain me, but just have my ear so I can give out free advice. That's the purpose of this show, to give out free advice. Then you need to take it from there. You need to hire your own lawyer. It doesn't have to be me, obviously. You can hire your own lawyer. And then you adapt my program or my legal points to the specific situation you have in a consultation with your lawyer, because things may change when you consult with your own lawyer. My principles might not be apropos for your specific situation because they're general principles of law and they're free. But phone calls are not free for all of the reasons I specified earlier. I hope you guys understand that. I want to be frank with you. I want to be straightforward. I don't want to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. We've asked you for help on the iPod situation, and we've been blunt about that. And I want to be just as blunt in telling you where we stand with respect to the show and legal information aside from the show itself. So I hope you understand that, and I wish you a great week. And I love the fact that you come and listen to us, because not everybody does give away free general principles of information, no matter what the profession is. So have a happy, healthy week, folks, and we'll see you again next week. Right, Rick?
Yes. Thanks. Oh, no, actually not next week, on the 24th. You'll see us in 2 weeks.
24th. Okay.
Yeah, you'll
Sounds
see us
good.
again in 2 weeks. Remember to go to iTunes, rate, review, and subscribe to our iTunes channel, as well as YouTube channel. And appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.